Morning everybody, welcome back to another CYT-Crypto episode. My name's Stephen Aitchison and today we'll be looking at Bakkt. Bakkt has launched already and we're going to be looking at that, see what's going to be the effect of Bitcoin, if any. It could go down, could go up, it might just stay the same, nothing might happen at all. So we'll look at Bakkt, we'll look at the markets overall, we'll look at a few charts as well, and I want to talk about something as well. How do you become a millionaire in crypto? So I was looking at some numbers, I've been crunching numbers yesterday when we were doing a bit of DIY. Yesterday, so I was crunching some numbers in between as well, and I was looking at that because I'm really thinking about kind of my future now. I'm 50 years old now, and I'm thinking, okay, what do I need if I want to retire at 55? I've only got 5 years because I don't want to retire at 67. I'm just going, what do I need to retire at 55? So I've been looking at that, crunching numbers and thinking just best case scenario. So I'll be going over that with you as well. It's actually quite interesting once you look at compound interest as well. So we'll look at that and we'll just see if we're live or not just now. Are we live? We are live. We are. How to become a millionaire in crypto? Start with 2 million. Exactly. I like that one, David. Right, okay. I'll just dive over, see how many people got in. So if you're watching just now, just leave a comment just to let me know who you are and let me know where in the world you're tuning in from as well. It'll be good to see where in the world you're from as well. I'm just going to jump over just now and we are here. So we have David D is in the house this morning, first one in. Stephen King is in, Andreas is in, Chris Moll's back with us, Tony P is back with us, good to see you Tony. Mike D, one of the Brown admins, is in the house as well, and the Hawthorns is in, Hassan Khan is in as well, and Jason Clayton has joined us. Good to see you here as well. Okay, and just see if the stream's okay. Yeah, the stream's okay, that's fine. I'm saying excellent connection. 21 people in just now. As I said, if you're in just now, just leave a comment just to let me know you're in and where in the world you're from as well. Also, if you go down to that like button just now and hit that like button just now, that would be fantastic. If you don't like the videos, then don't hit the like button, but it'd be cool if you do like them, just to remember and hit that like button. Okay, where are we with regards to crypto in the markets? Just now, we have an overall market capitalization of 262 billion, not the best. And we've got Bitcoin dominance of 68%. Bitcoin itself, 9,953. Still kind of going sideways. It's never really moved. It's went down, it's went up a wee bit, but not by that much at all. But we'll look at the Bitcoin chart as well. Have we got that up? Yep, we'll look at that after. Who's the winners and losers? We have Crypterium is up in the top 100, in at 98 and up 14%. Bit Capital Vendor, never heard of it. Up 12%, it's gone into the top 100 at 90 as well. So BCV. Waves is up 11% as well, it's only 3 in double digit greens. And we have Metaverse ETP down 11%, that's only 1 in double digit reds. We've got Aurora down, 0x, Ren, Algorand, Wink, Tron, IOST, Cosmos, Bitron all down as well. In the red we have, I'd say 50-50. No, 60-40 in the red. We'll just go over to all the cryptocurrencies listed on CoinMarketCap. We now have 2,889 listed. I've not done my view all in 10k. We'll just see who's traded over 10k and who's done the best. Right, is it going to let me do it? No, it just takes a while waiting for cash. I'll have a look at Crypto Bubbles in the meantime. Crypto Bubbles, we'll go over the last 24 hours first of all, kind of in the red we see there. CRPT, Crypterium, we can see up over the year 21%, 53% over the week, 30% on the day, 2% on the hour. So Crypterium Wixlar is going up again, up 40% on the day, 1% on the hour. BCV, as we said, 953% on the year, 110% on a month, 47% on a week. Oh, something's just changed. A bubble just disappeared there. VSYS as well is doing well, 8% up over the last 24 hours. We'll go over the last hour. Mostly in the green over the last hour. Beam is doing well, 6.6% up over the last hour. BCV up, Mana is up, Aurora Coin is up as well. We'll look on BTC value as well, Satoshi value. Not much change. Not much change at all over the last 24 hours. What's the change? Waves. It was up 13%. Satoshi value. So not much change at all, to be honest. Fear index. We've got a fear index of 41, or fear and greed index of 41. So kind of middle of the road just now. I would imagine a lot of people are kind of waiting with bated breath with regards to this kind of Bakkt launch. It's launched already, and we'll have a look at that in a second as well. Just dive over it, see who else is in. Nobody else is in at the moment. Let's make sure this is working. Yep, we've got 32 people in just now. So if you're in just now, just leave a comment just to let me know you're in and where in the world you're from as well. It'd be good to see that. Okay, we'll just have a look at the Bitcoin chart. I was looking at some. Oh, we'll go to all because that will be up just now. Okay, this is all of them CoinMarketCap, all the cryptocurrencies listed. See who's up. There's no 100%ers, which is unusual. We've got LNX protocol up 74% on 14,000 volume. SONM has done amazing, and that's 25 million volume, up 72%, but 150% on the day. And for, it's not a large cap, it's only 7 million market cap, and it was down below 5 million before this rise. So as I said, with Binance, there's still some hidden gems in there. So they're hidden in plain sight. SONM, obviously one of them, 25 million market cap. AdShares is up 70% on 16,000 volume, 4.2 million market cap. Cowchain is up 63% on 13,000 market capitalization. So that could potentially 1,000x and still only be 1.3 million market cap. What is doing well on volume? 417,000. ATN 1.7 million, 62% up over the last 24 hours. Don't know ATN, but look at the volume. The volume is a good indicator. Jexan up 48% on 413,000 market cap. That'll be a good one to look at as well. What else? 116. United Bitcoin. Don't like any of the ones that take Bitcoin's name. Decentralized vulnerability platform. 1.8 million. Right, don't know the market cap of that, unfortunately. We'll look at those two, because those two, we found one last week when we done this as well. I can't remember what the hell it was, but we found one last week when we done this and looked at it. I think it was one that was on KuCoin. ATN. Does it give us? No, just. So ranked 746, volume is 412,000, big one, so I haven't really heard of big one at all, the exchange, and it's saying 412,000, might be a bit, might not be wash trading at all, I'm just thinking, just because I've never heard it. Yeah, tweets are December the 17th stop, so that doesn't look like a good one. I think that's false trading there. Jexan. Oof, that's up big time. That's up nearly 10x actually. So we might be too late on that. So it was at 41,000. So it's 10x the market cap. And P2P, B2B, 112. That actually, a couple of times they've came up now, this exchange. So we need to look at that exchange and look at some of the coins on that exchange. It's social, 12 hours ago, so that's more like it. The growth to date, Jexcoin trading at a price, right, that's just about the price. Strategic partnership and finance agreement with MIO Foundation Singapore. So they're making partnerships, so it looks like a good one actually. More than just a lotto. Is this a lottery one? So Jexan could be a good one to look at. It's already up 1,000% though. Which is, it's good obviously for Jexan holders. But when did it come on? Literally was just back in July. It came on, it was down at 321 Satoshi, it's now at 2,767 Satoshi. So it's up 800%. That's over the last 2 weeks. So that's a good one. I don't know why it's not been flagged before. Yeah, the market cap was only 34,000. It's now 411,000, which is pretty amazing. That's 11 times where it was. See who else is in. Brundle25 is in the house. Barbara Taylor is in. Good to see you, Barbara. Long Stephen Gang. Sleepy Me in Florida. Florida, what time? At 3:41 in Florida. What are you doing up, Barbara? Shakiza, obviously, to watch this. Shakiza is in. Good to see you here. Pete Van Wright is in. Still bullish on Binance's future, Steve. Yeah, it's definitely still bullish on Binance future. It's going to take a bit of a downturn once the US investors leave, but to be honest, not really seen much of a difference. If we're looking at Binance, never really seen that much. Obviously, the volume's down, but yeah, still very bullish on Binance overall. Mark Ennis, hello Stephen, team, good to see you, Mark. Had a wee conversation with Mark this morning as well. He's out working just now, but good to see you here, Mark. Okay, so we're going to look at the exchanges first of all. Binance, we'll have a wee look at the exchange. Sorry, I'm still going up. It was down and then it's going back up again. So that's a brilliant jump, but it's came up from its bottom. It's nowhere near its all-time high or even recent high. So still a long way to go, and it just shows you we came off the bottom there, gone up 300%, and we're still nowhere near. In fact, you've got a kind of descending triangle going on there, which usually means a continuation of the downward pattern, but could be a breakout from there. TNT is going back up again. I think that was one that Tika Tiwara, I think he was the one, that was one of the 5 coins mentioned, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if TNT was one of those. Obviously it said Chainlink, and the other 5 people are still trying to find out about. Loki was one of them on KuCoin, I believe. TNT is supposed to be one of them as well. So I don't know if that is true or not, but it's up about nearly 100% over the last couple of days. Yeah, over the last 7 days. But again, this is nowhere near as high as well, because they're all coming off the bottom. That's the beauty of these altcoins coming off the bottom, because you're going to get 100%, there's 200, 300%, there's 400% as well, and this is what we're looking for just now. So on the daily charts, when I was looking at the daily charts, we've got about, think about 30 or so, just 30 coins that have actually crossed over on the daily. There's only 30 coins, this is on Binance, that have crossed over on the daily. So there's not that many, so when they cross over, that's when we want to look for them as well. Okay, we'll just go to BTC as well. I'll still stick with Binance, see what else is doing well. WPR is doing well. Repower, again, another one that's coming up. Well, they're all come off the bottom, to be honest, but it's up 100% already. 117% is up from its bottom, or recent bottom. AST is going up, CND is going up, called that yesterday as well, or the day before, I can't remember. Yesterday I think it was. HOT, not really going up, it's just trading between 8 and 9 Satoshi, or 9 and 10. What is HOT doing just now? 8 and 9 Satoshi. BIBE is going up as well. I don't think I called that. I was looking at that, I was going to call it 200, but I didn't call it, I don't think. Waves has gone up, QSP have called already, MTH have called, that's up about 17%. So there's a few going up there, and there's not that many in the red, there's only a couple of pages. Oh no, there's more than that. So it's still definitely opportunities, but look on the daily chart and look for the crossovers as well, and I'll be doing that in a premium group, more and more of that as well. We'll look on KuCoin, what's happening on KuCoin just now. We'll go to markets. View all pairs. We'll go to, that's amount change, no, it's a 24-hour change we're looking for. So you've got KuCoin Plus, which is 26% up for CHR is up, and the main market, we've got Sonium still up, XE, and GMB, CRPT we've seen going up as well, REQ is up, OGO, NRG, SOL is up 6% as well. That was up about 20%, SOL, and that was one I recommended the other day at 670 Satoshi. It's now, it did go up to 790. And that's still a long way to go. It's only 4 million, 4.3 million market cap. Long way to go for that. I think that's got a really good future. So KuCoin is going to be another good one to look at. I'm just going to quickly go to, this is the calls that I've made. This is in September. I've only made about 23 calls in total, and a lot of those have been over the last week or so, because it just wasn't a trading. There was no real trading going on. So this is the kind of calls I've made so far. I'm okay showing what I've kind of shown just now, what I've kind of shared yesterday, because a lot of them are up already. Like we called one yesterday, CND, that called at 89, it went up to 114, which is 28% rise. It's come back down again since, CND, but could have had a 20% there, or 25. Could you have a 20? You could have had a 20%. And the way we're doing it is if we're making a call here, when I make a call, is you put your 5% stop loss in, or 5 to 7% stop loss in. In this market, probably a wee bit leeway is needed, maybe 7%. Put it and just keep on moving that up, so it's a trailing stop loss there you want to have. So if you had a trailing stop loss at 5%, you could have had 23% gain on that CND call yesterday, and then you would have got stopped out. Unless it's really volatile and just going up and down, but it could have been that as well. Same with COV, or co-vesting. This is on KuCoin. Co-vesting is up 21%, or it did go up 21%. And same with Monetha, that went up 26%. And if you had a trailing stop loss there, you could have 21% there as well. So the ones below 5% that didn't get above 5% are the ones in the orange here. And the drawdown, I've now put a drawdown in. This is for the premium group members. I've now put a drawdown in as well. And that's the difference between the lowest price it got to and the price that I called it at. So there's some big drawdowns there, which is not good. You want that below 10%. And we've got red and green in there. If it's green, it means it went higher before it went lower to the lowest price. If it's red, it went lower before it went higher. That makes sense. If you're in the premium group, you understand what I mean anyway. But the average gain per call is about 11.97%, and the average drawdown per call is 6.93%. Okay, we'll look at Bakkt. What's going on with Bakkt? Bakkt has launched just now. We've got the launch just now. I'm just going to refresh this and just see what the volume is. There's no volume basically on Bakkt. So there's this big hoo-ha about Bakkt launching, and this is what kind of drove the price up earlier on in the year. But there's no volume. There's only 18 Bitcoin worth of volume just now, and that's kind of been open for 8 hours now, is it? Longer than that. But no volume. Well, it's not no volume whatsoever. 18 Bitcoin worth, $180,000 worth. It's not to be sneezed at, but we'd have thought with this big kind of hoo-ha that was going on about Bakkt, would have expected a lot more volume in this. And I don't know how. I would imagine this is accurate. It says last update time is 8:49 AM. So there's hardly any volume there. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't really mean anything, to be honest. I just go look at a couple of. Right, that's not that one. So Bakkt founder nervous about Monday's launch, says intense curiosity must turn into demand. So the CEO of Intercontinental Exchange on Bitcoin futures platform Bakkt says he and his team are nervous about Monday's launch. In an interview with Fortune, Jeff Sprecher says Bakkt has experienced a flood of curiosity on the company's imminent launch of BTC futures that will be settled in actual Bitcoin instead of cash. This is the difference between this futures exchange and other ones. It's actually settled physically. Well, not physically, but digitally, which is essentially physically. It means you're going to get your payout back in Bitcoin. So it's not, he believes it could take months before it's clear if Wall Street is diving in. It's not demand yet, it's intense curiosity. It's a sense that money managers want to be at the front of this train and not left out. The day-to-day news covers Bitcoin when the price goes way up or way down, but underneath we see sophisticated people investing in infrastructure and compliance that's unrelated to the price, but they won't use that infrastructure. There won't be true global acceptance until we can build out the rails in a regulated manner. So basically they just need demand for Bitcoin, for people to buy Bitcoin. That's what they're looking for. And Bakkt is for institutional investors, obviously, as well. At the moment, there's no demand for the Bakkt service just now. So Bakkt CEO Kelly Lufala says she expects retail brokers, college endowments and pension funds to be among the first takers, which would be good, which would be an amazing way. If you imagine if you're putting your pension into Bitcoin, which is what a lot of us are trying to do. I've been talking about that over the last couple of weeks. And the brokers are always looking for an edge to attract new customers, and offering Bitcoin could have lots of appeal. College endowments and pension funds are the ones who are usually in the forefront in adopting new investment ideas. I think that's where the money is going to come from Bitcoin. And then you're going to see the humongous rises in Bitcoin. And a lot of people say, how can that happen? It's supply and demand. It's really, really simple. It's supply and demand. If you've only got 16 million Bitcoin, which is probably estimated are going to be in the world by the end of 2040, there's only ever going to be 60 million because 5 million are going to have been lost already, or nobody's got access to it. A lot of people have not got access to it or whatever. So 16 million, and you've got 7.5 billion people in the world. Obviously, once everybody gets to know about it, these kind of institutional investors, the fund managers get to know about it, Bitcoin is going to shoot up in price. Hugely, it's going to shoot up in price because it's going to see it as a hedge. And that's what they're going to be looking for. They're looking for an edge all the time, and Bitcoin could be that edge and hedge that they're looking for as well. And that's why it's going to drive prices up. And this is why it's still a good price at the moment, just now, to get into Bitcoin. And I'm trying desperately to get my pension into there, but it's been delayed. I've just got word back that's been delayed for about 3 weeks. I'm not going to get the money cleared, and I can't actually get the Bitcoin for another 3 weeks, which is a pain in the arse. But it might go down, it might work in my favour, hopefully. So this is where Bakkt is going to come in useful. I think it's not trading just now. There's no volume at the moment, but that doesn't really mean anything, I don't think. I think it will start to creep up. If we keep an eye on that over the coming weeks as well, I think that is going to start to creep up as well. So Bakkt, it just says there was a tweet from Bakkt that says we're live. The first Bakkt Bitcoin futures trade was executed at 8:02 p.m. Eastern time, which is 1 a.m. kind of GMT, at a price of 10,115. They've already lost money on that. Well, they've not lost it because they've not sold it yet. CME has already asserted its dominance in the realm of cash-settled Bitcoin futures after its rival CBOE left the playing field back in March. However, Bakkt offers a completely different product. Traders who bet on a future Bitcoin price moves will be able to receive the payouts in Bitcoin, which is what we were talking about there. So, eToro's Matty Greenspan said the launch of physically settled futures from Bakkt has been one of the main narratives behind the monster Bitcoin rally during the first half of the year, and that's what Greenspan told the Wall Street Journal. So it says, is Bakkt flopping? So at the time of writing, Bakkt has registered only 13 Bitcoin of trading volume, which is insanely low. It's not insanely low. It's $130,000 worth still. I think institutional investors will be looking at it, and I would imagine they're not going to jump in on the first day. They're still going to be looking at it. And remember, they can short them as well. They can short the Bitcoin as well. Of course, this amount is expected to grow throughout the day, but the aforementioned number is very alarming. Yeah, only 18 Bitcoin at the moment. VanEck cancels the ETF after only 4 Bitcoin worth of blocks sold. So far, Bakkt has doubled that to a whopping 8 BTC. Institutional money ain't excited. I think they are. I just think they're not showing their hand just now. I think that's what the situation is just now. However, one shouldn't forget that Bakkt is a brainchild of Jeff Sprecher, who is unlikely to let his first crypto venture flop. So it's not just about that as well. I just think a lot of people are not going to be showing their hand on this. I think that's what's happening here. Remember as well, one thing, I don't think we've really spoken about this as well. If you've got institutional investors, obviously Bakkt are going to have all the details. They're going to have all the details of what institutions are going to be investing in the Bitcoin futures. They're going to have all those details. Now, this is not, it's not a big thing, but if you think about it, they're going to have all those details about the kind of institutions that are going to be investing. Now, I don't know what would happen. Could they pass information on? Just say that a big, huge company was buying millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. and it has to be executed at price, obviously, as well. Could that information be passed on to other institutions? Could it drive kind of Bitcoin price down or up as well? I just wonder how that information is going to be kind of secured as well. But I wouldn't imagine it. It's just something I kind of thought about as well. Okay, we'll just dive back to the chat area just now, see what you're saying. At the minute, G-Slick is in the house. Good to see you. Bernard Ronald is in the house. Niles Boo is in. Graham Laws joined us. Barbara Taylor just getting started. It'll increase over time. It will. I think it will increase over time. Institutions being cautious, totally. David D, Barbara Taylor, yes. David Schwartz, hello Steve, good to see you here. H. Hasankan, is there an easy way to see which 30 coins crossed over on the daily, or did you look at them individually? You have to look at them individually. So basically what I do in the morning, first thing when I get up in the morning, after I've kind of had a jog or whatever, I've been out, is I'll look through all the charts on Binance, which is about 150 of them. I look through all the charts. Well, I don't do all the charts on KuCoin because I look at the kind of risers as well, so look at them. So about maybe 200 and odd charts I'll look at individually and see what ones are crossing over, and then make calls and kind of look at other kind of factors as well to see them. So yeah, that's what I kind of do first thing in the morning, then again in the afternoon, and then maybe later at night as well. So at least twice per day. Barbara Taylor, probably get more action when US market opens in 5.5 hours. Yeah, I would imagine so. Gary Permenta, NRG is going well. NRG is looking good actually. I'm liking the look of that more and more. BTC max supply 21 million euro. Yeah, the max supply is 21 million, but there's already been lost, probably estimated about 4 or 5 million. So if we bring that down, say 5 million, it's going to be 16 million max supply. So if we look at from that point of view, and that's only estimated, nobody can know for sure how much has been lost or how much is not, somebody's not got access to. So that's why I'm saying about 16 million, but it's 21 million by the end of 2040. Did I say a different figure? I don't think I did. I think it was 21 million, but I think it's 16 million max because of the lost Bitcoin as well. So here's what I was looking at as well. So I was looking at kind of Bakkt and thinking about that and thinking this could really pop. Bakkt could make it pop. It could make it go down as well, but I really think it could pop as well once the kind of pension pots get in, once there's all the regulators come in and the pension people are allowed to trade Bitcoin futures, physically backed Bitcoin futures, and they've got custodial service in there as well, which would be amazing. Once they start to get in, then the price of Bitcoin is really going to go up. So I've estimated that the price of Bitcoin goes up. Say it starts at, we'll go for 10,000. Starts at 10,000 just now, and it goes up yearly of 50% over the next 10 years. What price does that leave Bitcoin at? It leaves it at a price of $500,000 in 10 years' time. So this is kind of estimate, and we're just going on average 50% year on year. Okay? So it's going up 50% every year. And so it's an estimated, it goes up to 576,000 there. So that's in 10 years' time. Now, what would it take for us to become millionaires if we were getting 50% per year return? What would it take per month for us to become millionaires in 10 years' time? So I was kind of looking at the figure. I'm going to say, okay, we start off with $1,000. Say we'll have $1,000 and we've got 50% per year of growth in Bitcoin. You don't take it out, you don't trade it, you just keep it in there for the next 10 years, and you put £1,000 a month in. Or say we'll just put £500 a month in. Now I know that's pushing it. But that's another thing I've been thinking about as well. And I'm actually thinking about starting a blog or starting a series on how to make kind of $1,000 per month, just for the sake of putting it into Bitcoin. And I've thought of kind of loads of ways already. There's hundreds of different ways, but it's not related to crypto, but kind of is because it's putting it back into crypto. So say you started at $500 per month. You start at $1,000 and then you put $500 per month in. And I think everybody could get an extra $500 per month doing strange stuff, and we can talk about that if you're kind of wondering where you would get $500 per month. So I'm going to calculate this, and this is compound interest. If you put in $500 per month for 10 years, the amount you would have put in altogether would be 60,000. The amount you'd get back if Bitcoin was to grow by 50% per year would be $910,000 in 10 years' time. 910,000. So you'd need to put in, oh, that should be 550. 550 deposit every month. So that's a regular saving every month. It's not 550, it'll go 560. I want to get to that million. So $1 million here after 10 years for $560 per month. And you would have put in $67,200 if you saved at 560 per month. But if Bitcoin only grows at, I'm saying only, but if it grows at 50% every year, on average, every year for the next 10 years, then you could have that $1 million in 10 years. $1 million in 10 years time might not be worth much. It will be worth a lot, obviously, but just to get to $1 million. But if you put in more, if you can double that, and you just put in $1,000 per month, and again, we could find $1,000 per month. You could have 1.7 million for putting $120,000 in. And again, when you look at it, and it's funny numbers. It just makes you more motivated to kind of earn more money. You could have $3.5 million after 10 years if Bitcoin was to grow at 50% per year for $2,000 per month, and you put in $240,000, and you could potentially get back $3.5 million. It's a risk, obviously, but everything is a risk. We have to remember that as well. Everything, buying a house is a risk. I bought this house, and it could go down this flat. It could go down in price. It could go down in value. So I'm not going to lose anything unless I sell it. But it's still a risk. It's a risk buying it. It's a risk buying a house anyway, because of all the money you're paying out, the taxes and stuff like that as well. So to do $2,000 per month, but really $560 per month is what you would need to make $1 million in 10 years' time. So you're putting in $67,200, possibly getting out $1 million. This is where compound interest comes in. So you just keep compounding all the time, year on year, you're doing the compound interest. So that's what it takes. And so I've been thinking, crunching numbers all the time, and it looks brilliant on paper, and you think, it looks really good on paper. What's it like kind of practically? When we think about it, it's only because of the risk of Bitcoin not going up by 50% per year. But it could be that it goes up 200% in 1 year, and then it drops by 50% the next year. So you calculate the difference then as well. It's obviously not, the difference is not 150%, but you would calculate it based on the prices at the time. So on average, if it was 50% per year, then you could be a millionaire in 10 years' time. It could be even sooner than that if it's gone up quicker. But we'll have to look at the Bitcoin price if it's gone up 50% per year, and that would be $576,000 in 10 years' time. So imagine it was then 100% on year. How much would it be? It would be $10 million if it was to go up 100% every year. It'd be up to $10 million. So that probably ain't going to happen. $10 million, it could, I don't think it will. If it's going up 60% per year, it'd be up to $1 million in 10 years' time. So then you change that figure to 60%, still the $560, change that, and you're now at $1.7 million for putting $67,000 back. This is the way we've got to look at it, and I've been thinking, really thinking about this as well. And if you had a base amount, just say you're able to transfer a pension over, and you had a pension, I don't know, about $65,000 or something, you could just transfer it over. What would it be after that? If you started off with $65,000, you're moving your pension over, or your 401k, or your IRS, or whatever it is, and you're putting in $560 a month, you'd be up to $8 million. $8 million. So if you started off with a larger amount, i.e. $65,000 there, and it was going up 60% per year for 10 years, putting in $560, you'd be up at $8 million at the end of that, 8.7 million. So it just shows you the figures. If you just kind of play about the numbers, and it kind of blows your mind about the potential of Bitcoin as an investment for your future as well. As I said, totally 100% risky, but walking out onto the street is 100% risky as well. You could get, I don't know, run over, blown up, I don't know, but it's just risky. Life is a risk. And for us to grow, in order for us to grow as human beings, we have to take risks. In order for us to grow financially, we have to take risks as well. So this is why I think it's totally 100% worth taking the risk if we kind of look at these kind of numbers. Even if we don't, even if it grows only 10% per year, and say we were to still put $65,000 in, and we're putting $560 a month, and it only grows by 10% per year, how much would we have? We still have $281,000 in. If we're putting in 67,000 and starting off with 65,000. If we're only starting off with 1,000, it's not that much, but we're putting in $67,000, we're getting 115,000 back. That would be amazing. If a bank were to offer you that, everybody would bite their hand off. Literally, everybody would bite their hand off. If you were getting those kind of returns from a bank, 10% per year, and the banks would make amazing money. They wouldn't be in the trouble they're in just now, because there'd be that many people signing up, but they'd have to find a way to grow by 10% per year. So at the moment, banks are actually negative interest. If you put your money into a savings account and you get 0.5% interest or 1% interest, and then you've got on top of that, you've got inflation, so you're actually into negative interest there as well. So it's looking at it looks like simple maths, and you just think this is too simple to look at it like that, but it's not. If you could find an extra $560 a month and you start off with $1,000, 50% per year, you could be a millionaire in 10 years' time. I just wonder what you think about that. That's what these are the kind of things I think about. And I'm genuinely thinking about doing a kind of series on how to make more money online. One of the ways I thought about making money, and I thought this could be an extra £300 per month, is rent out your car. You could literally rent out your car, because we don't drive. We've got a car that we don't drive throughout the week. Well, it's my son's car, but we're kind of on the insurance. My son's car, and he's kind of agreed to this as well. But he doesn't drive it during the week because he's away during the week. So he only drives out the weekend. So we thought if we kind of rent that out during the week, and you get insured for it and stuff like that, and presuming nothing happens, could make an extra £400 a month just for that alone. So £400 is what, $550 or something a month just for renting out your car. And there's other things you can do, is rent out a room on Airbnb, stuff like that. There's loads of things you could do to make an extra $1,000 a month. So I'm genuinely thinking about starting a video series on that as well, with the aim of investing that money into crypto as well. David D, sounded like you said 60 million. No, 16 million. 16 million. It was 60 million, I said. But I've never heard anyone suggest 5 million lost BTC already, but certainly possible. Yeah, I think that's the kind of an estimate that's been lost, or will have been lost by kind of 2040. 2040 is going to win. We're going to have 21 million. Obviously, it'll still go past that as well, because they'll still be able to mine some of it, but it's estimated around about the year 2040. Imran Chowdhury just out, article this minute, 18 BTC volume on Bakkt. Yeah, I've just kind of looked at that as well, Imran, and we've seen that as well. I don't think it's gone up any at all. I'll just refresh it. 24. So it has gone up. So the volume is now 24 BTC. So it is going up, which is good. And as Barbara says, once the American investors start waking up, then I think we'll have more volume on there. Kukla is in the house. Good morning to you. Good to see you here. Duke Nugent is in the house. I don't know how to pronounce that. David D, 50% APY. It's like 10x standard X on average, not counting for downturns. Wow, seems highly unlikely agree to be. I don't know what that's about. David D, 50% APY is like 10x standard returns on average, not accounting for downturns. Well, it seems highly unlikely. Oh, that's for the average per year. It's like 10x standard returns on average. Of course it is. But this is what I'm talking about, the institutional investors getting in. So if you're thinking about the future and thinking about the price of where Bitcoin could be, that's what we're thinking about. So you've got John McAfee talking about $1 million. It's going to be $1 million. Lots of people saying, okay, I think the average consensus, roughly, just looking at it, I've not done any kind of research, but looking at it and looking at the moon, talking about Ivan on Tech, looking at MN Crypto and what they're talking about, I think the average is about $200,000. They're talking about for Bitcoin in the next couple of years, and that's the next couple of years. I think the average price that they're kind of predicting is about 200,000. So if you kind of start with that figure and kind of work the way back, then that's where I got the 50%. So I've started at $500,000 instead of 200,000. I've started at $500,000 for Bitcoin price in 10 years time, and I've worked the way back and saying, okay, 50% per year average return per year. That's where I've got that figure. So it does seem unlikely. It seems unlikely only because we've got a mindset of the banks, what the banks offer us, or what government bonds offer us. So government bonds, you could get 5% per year for government bond. The banks are offering 1% or a high interest account, which is only limited, of 3% or something that's limited for a year or something like that. So our mindset, that's where our mindset is. But we have to think bigger than that for the future. That's what Bitcoin is. It's going to be much bigger than we could even imagine. I believe it's going to be much bigger. And I don't think it's going to be a currency, which is what it was intended to be in the first place. I think it's going to be a store of value like gold. I genuinely think that more and more as we go along. I think it's going to be a store of value. And that's where the price is going to just mentally explode. Because once one of the big companies get in, one of the institutional investors get in, just say, okay, we're buying Bitcoin big time. And if they do it through Bakkt, obviously they can do it through Bakkt, and Bakkt have to buy that. Bakkt are going to have to buy that from somewhere. Have they already bought it? Have they stored up Bitcoin just now as a backup? Of course they have. They have to have. And they're not just going to buy it from the exchange. They buy it from OTC traders, or they'll buy it. They'll have a supply already, or a supply. So we'll have to think about that and think about where the Bitcoin price could be. And this is where you get the 50% year on year return. Imran Chowdhury, shades of BitConnect. No, not at all. Totally different. Figures will always be deceptive. Nothing follows the rule due to unwanted circumstances and changing regular. Of course. 10 years is a long time for a lot of stuff to change. 100%. Honest Crypto Journey, good morning all. Sorry I'm late. I had an early pupil test this morning. Oh, I hope it went well, Stuart. I hope he passed, or she passed. If everyone thinks about that, what happens in 10 years from now? The market will crash since everyone is getting the money out. No, because what would happen, imagine if, this is what would generally happen. Imagine if Bitcoin went from 10,000 to 20,000, loads of people would be getting out at $20,000. Loads of people would just be, retail investors will be getting out at 20,000. And meanwhile, the kind of institutional investors will be mopping up when it goes back down to $12,000. They'll mop up and buy more and more and more and more. Then the demand or the supply is less and less and less. So supply and demand is simple, really simple, supply and demand. But the institutional investors are going to mop up every time it goes down. They're just going to start mopping up. And it started just now. I believe the institutional investors are in there just now, not in a big, huge way, but it's going to get more and more and more, and it's going to explode. Imran Chowdhury, what's giving 60%? 60% is about $1 million. Thing we looked at, if we gave it 60% per year, and we started off with $10,000 just now, and it went up 60% per year, it gave us $1 million, just over $1 million for the price of Bitcoin in 10 years' time. Imran Chowdhury, what investment vehicle? Just invest in Bitcoin. So what do you mean, what investment vehicle? Good day, Steve. Thanks for the content. Kig, thank you very much for the $2 donation. Really appreciate that, mate. Smart People is in the house. Welcome to you. Imran Chowdhury, risk is of levels and matters of amplification. Some risk takes the needle way too far to irrational. Hence, management of that risk is important. Totally 100% as well. So, investing in, so I was talking about the risk of investing in property as well. That could go down as well as up, obviously, but it's more likely, and history has shown us, that the house prices are going to go up in value. It used to be every 7 to 10 years the house prices would double. That's no longer the case, but it's still a relatively safe investment. You're not going to lose that much if you invest in property. So that's a risk, but it's much less of a risk than kind of buying Bitcoin, where it's a kind of much bigger risk because it's an unknown kind of quantity. It was an unknown entity, really. It's only been around for really 10 years if you think about it. So it's unknown, but that doesn't mean to say that it's not a good risk. It could be worth putting in that money. It could be worth doing that. And if you start out and just invest in $560 per month and do dollar cost averaging, and you're getting on average back 50% per year or something, if you do that and it does kind of double in price or triple in price, you might be happy to take money out when it's tripled in price. So this is where the price of Bitcoin is going to go up and down, and the supply and demand is going to go up and down as well. Somebody was talking, Duke, somebody else was talking earlier on. Yeah, Duke was saying, well, if it did go to that price, so it did go to $500,000, everybody would be taking the money out of that. No, because people take out the money at different stages along the way. So it just depends on what you're happy with. You might be happy with a 50% return on your investment. Me, I wouldn't be, because I'm looking to retire at 55. I won't retire. I'll still be doing what I'm doing, but I want to be financially free by the time I'm 55. Big ask, because it's only 5 years away, but that's what I'm thinking about just now. David D, talk about 60 to 100% API for 10 consecutive years really makes me consider the credibility of today's stream. No, you've got to see, you're looking at it the wrong way, David. So if you're thinking, that's what I was saying earlier on, there's going to be some years that you're going to be minus 50% or minus 10% or minus 20%, but there's going to be some years, like this year, Bitcoin has risen 250% this year alone. And we're only in September. So think about it from that point of view. Was it $3,000, $3,300? Now, I'm not trying to convince you. You don't need to kind of stay on the stream or whatever, but you've got to think about it from that point of view. So some years it's going to be up 250%. Some years it's going to be down 20%. On average, 50% per year. That's what I'm talking about. T-Mac, do you see us dropping from Bakkt? I don't know. Honestly, don't know. It's hard to call what Bakkt are going to do, what the impact of Bakkt is going to have. It really is hard to call. So as I said, we've only got 26 Bitcoin volume. So it's going up all the time. So that's $260,000. And what is the Bitcoin price at the moment? So I have a Bitcoin price of 9924, so it's going down at the moment. So that's nothing to do with Bakkt, because it's only $240,000 worth. That's not really going to have a huge impact on a price. But once we get more volume in, then we're going to have an indication of where we're going to go. And I don't know if Bakkt will release figures of the shorts and the longs on that as well. Imran, T-Mac, what do you mean dropping from Bakkt? I think it means dropping, the price dropping. Loyal Tanji, I currently have 3 Airbnbs, do it. Excellent. I'd love to talk to you about that, Loyal Tanji. T-Mac, BTC price dropping from Bakkt launch, yeah. Honest Crypto Journey, I've actually been writing a book for about a year titled Stop Trying to Get Poorer and Let Wealth Happen, discussing exactly what you're talking about this morning, coincidentally. Excellent, would love to see that, Stuart. I'm kind of writing 2 books myself at the moment, but the next book is already planned in my head, and it was about kind of wealth creation as well. Why are the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer? What we can do to change our mindset. It's totally 100% about mindset. I agree with you. Tell us what to do. Richard doing basically stop buying liabilities and start buying assets. That's weird. I was really in tune with that, because I was speaking to kind of my wife. What we kind of do when we're kind of buying for the house and that, we see it. It's not an investment. It's not an asset. What we're doing for the house, so you can't class it as a liability or an asset, which is kind of strange. Because I've been talking about that over the weekend with my wife. And a liability is anything that's kind of losing your money. So if you're spending money on clothes, that's a liability. You're losing money on that. If it's an asset, it's money. It's something that's making you money. Most people don't have assets. So this house that we've got, this flat that we've got, it's not an asset because it's not making us money. In fact, we're having to pay the mortgage every single month, so it's not an asset. So we've not got any real kind of assets. The business is, you can't really say that's an asset. It's making money, it's bringing in money, obviously, but it's not an asset we actually have. We've got a website, that's an asset. It's making money every month. I'm not having to do anything. It's making me a couple $1,000s a month, so I don't really do anything with it. So that's an asset, class an asset in the business kind of sense. So that's exactly what I've been talking about, as well as some friends and family, and I was speaking over the weekend about that as well, Stuart. I need to talk about that soon. CryptoCat, so bored with crypto. I think a lot of people are. CryptoCat. Doug Diggler, Bakkt will do nothing. If people wanted crypto, would have bought from heaps or other exchanges. What am I missing? There's nothing. It's just about so what Bakkt are offering. You've got to think about what Bakkt are offering here for institutional investors, and this is what people are looking for, or this is what institutional investors are looking for. So they're looking for something that's backed. So it basically, if Bakkt was to get hacked or something, the people investing with Bakkt would not be affected whatsoever, because they've got custodials as well, and they've got it's secure and it's insured as well. So if an institutional investor was coming in and buying $100 million worth of Bitcoin, it means that it's secured, because they've got custodial service and it's secure. It has to be secured from a regulator's point of view, and they've got insurance. So if it was to get hacked, then that person wouldn't be out of $100 million. So you've got to think about it from that. It's from as security and the custodial service as well. It's storing Bitcoin. So if I was an institutional investor, I wouldn't want to store Bitcoin in my own wallet, because it's not that secure. If it was on my computer or if it was on a cold wallet as well, then I wouldn't want to go through all that hassle. I want somebody that's got those services already. This is what Bakkt offers. That's why people are making such a big deal about this as well. Honestly, how a mindset and ability to take risk as to what people need to do to get into the correct side of the tracks for their financial freedom. Exactly. And most rich people, all the rich people that we kind of see, if you think about it, most of them take risks. All of them take risks. They all have to take risk. And a lot of them have been bankrupt. But because of the mindset, they can bounce back from bankruptcy. Because of that mindset, they've had it once, they can do it again. Whereas if the kind of poor went bankrupt, they'd have that mindset, they would be even more cautious about our money. We just wouldn't kind of risk anything at all. Would be even more risk averse. So this is why the rich are kind of it's a mindset thing. Totally 100% agree with that. Valley Singer's in the house. What's the best crypto to invest in, or any investment? If you're just starting just now, you can't go far wrong with kind of Bitcoin. Looking at Bitcoin at the moment, if you're just starting out, and we're looking for hidden gems at the minute. Just now, we're looking for hidden gems on KuCoin. We're also looking on obviously Binance as well. When is that? That's not really at 50%. Doug Diggle is saying XRP. So what's stopping them from buying elsewhere? A quantity. So if you were to buy from Binance, if you were looking at Binance just now, and you're looking at the BTC price, you're looking at USDC, and you're looking at BTC, say USDC. If you wanted to buy, say, $1 million worth of Bitcoin, so you want to buy 100 Bitcoin, you'd have to push the price up. Just now, you'd be pushing the price up, so it's 9924 to buy at the moment, but you'd be pushing the price up just now to buy that's the other way. It'd have to be going up to there. That's 10 Bitcoin, 990, up to probably $10,000 or something. If you wanted to buy from the exchange, you just can't buy it. It's liquidity. That's what it's all about as well. You have to look at liquidity. Well, Tanya, I'd be happy to answer any question. Airbnb has been great. I'm 52 and have the same goal as you. Excellent. Excellent. And Doug Digler, thanks. That makes sense. Now that's why I'm here. Good, good. James Oklahoma's in the house, one of the Brown admins. Good to see you, James. Brando 25, Bakkt, volume up to 26. Yep, it's going up all the time. So I would imagine it'll go up throughout the day. So we'll see what happens. Tim Draper bought 5,000 BTC of the US Marshals when they auctioned their BTC haul from Silk Road. That called taking a risk, but paid off big time. Huge, huge. And that's why the rich get richer, because they're prepared to take those risks. Obviously, they've got the money to do it as well, but you can't make money without having money as well, to a degree. So that's what risk is about. Risk is a mindset thing as well, and we have to take risks. If you don't take a risk, even as a human being, if you're inside your comfort zone all the time, you're never going to grow as a human being. It's the same with your finances. If you're inside your comfort zone all the time with your finances, if you're living month to month and you're not investing anything, you're not doing anything like that, you're inside your comfort zone, which is quite fragile actually. But if you start taking a little bit of risk, measured risks as well, then that comfort zone expands and expands and expands. Same with being a human being as well. The more you kind of let yourself go a little bit and do things that you're not used to, you grow as a human being. Same with your finances as well. We have to look at it from that point of view. He said it either goes to zero or rules everything. Exactly. And that's how you have to think. And that's how I really do believe that's how I started my business as well. I just thought, okay, I'm going to have to risk losing my job, not losing my job, because I left my job obviously in 2012. I left my job then in September 2012 actually, probably to the day, a couple of days ago, as my anniversary. September 2012 I left. I never looked back since, and it was that steady paycheck every single month. If I was getting £2,000 per month, steady, I was getting that in my hand. I could have had that every single month, but there was no passion there. I loved what I was doing. I was helping the homeless and helping drug and alcohol, and people that are addicted to drug and alcohol. I was helping them as a counsellor to them, and I loved what I was doing, but I love this even more. I'm passionate for my business, kind of helping other people as well on a larger scale, and that's my passion. And I'm lucky that I found my passion. I'm not lucky. I've been looking for it for years, and I finally had the balls just to say, right, I'm going to leave my job with the backing of my wife, and we had some security there as well that I've been saving up. I've been doing it part-time. I was kind of saving up, and I had enough money to keep me for 6 months before I had to find another job. But luckily, the risk paid off. I kind of made much more money than I would have at my job. And it allowed us to live a good lifestyle and save up. Obviously, I lost a shit ton with crypto, but I didn't lose any in crypto. I put $20,000 in, took $40,000 or $50,000 out, and I've still got about $20,000 in just now. So I've not lost anything at all in crypto. But that's the kind of level of thinking we have to be at. Okay, I'm going to leave it there just now. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. How many people got in? 57 in just now. So thank you to everybody who's watched, and I really appreciate your time here. I know you could be doing other things, but we'll see how it goes. I'm just going to have one last look at Bakkt and see what the volume is. 26 just now. Bitcoin price 9925 at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on it over the day. But okay, thank you for your time, and I'll speak to you same time, same place tomorrow. Until then, namaste. Take care. Bye now.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels,